Hello traders, today is 14th of June and we are ready to begin a new week and another week in the books as stock indices are more or less going sideways, but S&P and S&P 500 was able to rise to another record while Nasdaq is close to the previous record, and Dow Jones, as you can see, is the one of the three indexes that are going more or less sideways, and you can see even some selling price action. Let's look at what was happening in the market last week, as we were most of the time waiting for a Thursday session, which was the most interesting session as the ECB has its meeting. Also, the inflation data, CPI data in US were released, and that was more or less the most interesting thing on the markets last week. As you can see, we were going on the daily chart the sideways for most of the time. Even currencies were doing somewhat nothing, and crypto was probably the most interesting for the last week. But like I said before, not really much going on the markets these days. We are waiting. Even at the beginning of this week, we are waiting for FOMC meeting, which is scheduled on Wednesday, and there might be some glimpse of when the normalization of monetary policy will happen, if it will happen, if it's needed, if the central bank thinks it's needed. So those are the main questions we are asking right at the beginning of this week. Like I said before, S&P 500. Another record high. So the sentiment is more or less extremely positive. You can see it on the market. We obviously do not really have a space to go any further, as the numbers are looking, the economic and macroeconomic numbers are looking very good, but the space for further gains is more or less limited, and we really need some more support to go to some higher numbers. You can see some things that might give us some sense where the market is going, why is it going, where is it going. You can see U.S. Treasuries yields from 10 years are currently on the lowest level since the beginning of the March, where it began to be a problem for growth and technological stocks. So right now, being below 150, 146.4% is extremely good for stocks overall, and should be negative for American dollar. Even at the VIX index, which is the fear index and the index of volatility of the market, is right now currently close to 16 points, which is the lowest since basically, yeah. So it's lowest in probably like 2 years, maybe even more. So yeah, like I said before, very positive sentiment on the markets. We might be even waiting for some more volatility to come, but the problem here is that we are beginning right now the summer. Summer months are more or less represented by lower volatility, lower volumes on the markets, lower actions over there. So do not really expect anything big at the beginning of this week, even as we have a scheduled FOMC meeting, which like I said before, will be a key event for markets this week and especially this month. So this is something that we are looking for, and we are keen to see what is going to happen. Like I said before, even currencies were not doing anything great, but euro, especially US dollar, was ready to snap some gains at the end of the last week, and even at the beginning of this week is building up to these gains at a certain markets. You can see here on euro, we can see some correction of the losses from Friday's session, but more or less you can see sideways price action for most of the time. So not really was happening much at the market, even on the forex side. and we were, like I said, waiting for something to happen, and then the inflation numbers. You can see the GBP is in the sideways price action trending channel for a good month, over there. Let's look at the numbers of the inflation, which were more or less, I would say, interesting. But there's a low base which is being compared with the numbers with from this year, from with compared with the numbers from the previous year, and the previous year was very very bad in terms of inflation and inflation pressures. So you can see the inflation was able to rise to 5%. The core CPI 3.8%. Those are huge numbers. Those are very very big numbers. But if you closely watch into the report, you can see this is the lowest number we had here. So being compared right now when the economy is reopening with the fact that the economy was getting shut down last year at the same period, can compare those two, and you can see that the number why is high. So it should be normalizing in the coming months. If it's not, then there's a problem for FOMC. But if it is, it's not really a huge problem, and we should see some downwards price pressures in the coming months. Even if you look at the monthly price pressures, those are not anything big. Any big price pressures are not being there. So building up, not at all. So it's more or less going with the reopening of the economy and with a very positive economic sentiment over there. Consumer sentiment is very good. So this is the things that the market is being focused on as right now. Like I said before, even the commodities markets were not as interesting for most of the part, but you can see a Friday and Monday session is hoping to be very good in terms of prices of oil to be rising even further, and it's building up on those demand from Northern America and even in Europe, which is more or less at the same levels as before pandemic. So the demand for oil, not for oil overall, but the gasoline and diesel is surging around the world. Even the air travel is almost back to normal, almost back to previous levels. So those are the things that are helping the demand for oil, and obviously rising of the rise of the prices. Me personally, I do prefer oil to be trading a little bit lower. So I would not say short it right now, because you can see the positive sentiment over there building up. But those gains from here, from the middle of May, are huge percentily, and without the correction yet. So there is a correction to come, better expected, and it might not be as big, because like I said, the demand is surging around the world, but there might be some correction even below the $70 a barrel. Like I said, like I was talking about the fact that US dollar is surging on some markets. Even at the beginning of this month, I was talking mostly about the gold and silver, which is under pressure as right now. You might have seen that the inflation numbers are looking fairly bad, but if you look at the report, you can see that those price pressures are not there on a monthly basis building up. So this is a negative thing for oil, for gold, excuse me. And the yields from U.S. Treasuries are going downwards, which should be positive for gold. So you have those two things which collide over there at the market, but more or less, gold is right now getting more expensive with more expensive US dollar, and that's the reason why the pressure here is on the seller's side. Let's look at the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies more. We'll probably stay here on the Bitcoin, as last week El Salvador approved the so-called Bitcoin law, which which approves the payments in the country of Bitcoin. Me personally, I think it was a more or less the short-term sentiment, which showed to be right, and the price was building downwards pressures again. But on Friday, I mean on Sunday, Elon Musk tweeted that if there is some reasonable around 50% of miners that are using some green energy and sustainable energy, that Tesla will probably accept Bitcoin as a payment for their cars again. So those are two positive sentiment. I think, me personally, those are some short-term positive sentiment, and the market should probably go again to a price around $35,000. So that's about the markets. Let's look at the economic calendar for this week. Like I said, we have the FOMC meeting, which will be the most interesting in this month, in this week, and this month as well. We have on Tuesday retail sales from US, so better watch out for that. That might be interesting as well. Some secondary data from US on Wednesday. We have CPI data from Canada, from UK. We have building permits, and then at night we have FOMC meeting. We have also some employment data from Australia, interest rate decision, so a meeting of a Swiss National Bank, as well as Norix Bank meeting. So that might be also interesting. Inflation data from Euro, a lot of inflation data this week. And on Friday, you have retail sales from UK. So a bunch of data from UK. So you might watch out for some price movements of British pound. And that might be it. Also, Bank of Japan is having its meeting, though those are not really that... they're not really providing any extra big moves. So this will be it. This will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any question, leave it down in the comment section below the video, and I will see you next week.